Hello. I'm kind of dressed up today because I'm supposed to go to a photo shoot. Photo shoot with this face. Anyway, I saw an Instagram reel that piqued my interest, and I wanted to talk a little bit about it. It goes into art and philosophy.
I think a lot of people come to philosophy wanting to be told how to live, or wanting to be given an explanation of the world, or an explanation of life, or something. And it seems to me that to have that desire is an abnegation of personal responsibility. One shouldn't want to be told how to live. One shouldn't want definitive answers. But it's an entirely different thing to want clarification of one's life, clarification of issues, so that one personally can take decisions and take responsibility for oneself.
It's a painful thing you are saying, but of course I agree with it. Most people want to be given answers. One of the things I remember very well, Turgenev, when he's writing about his own writings, says one of the troubles about his novels, why they're not more admired than they should be, is the Russian reader in the 19th century wants to be told how to live, and he wants to be quite clear about who are the heroes and who are the villains. And Turgenev, doesn't do this. Turgenev says, all I do is paint human beings as they are. I don't guide the reader. I don't tell him on which side they speak. I myself stand.
And that's why a lot of times we turn to fiction, or even some non-fiction. We want like samples. We want case studies, things that we can refer to in order to get a little bit of insight when it comes to certain situations in life, right? You know, having an anecdote or a parable that kind of relates to a certain crossroad in life, you know, a decision you have to make, or a emergency that happened in your life that, with unforeseen consequences. You want to be able to refer to something and say, wait a minute, that person did this and it turned out well for him. Maybe I should follow that example. But more and more, especially nowadays in social media, people like to refer to, gurus and life coaches. Then again, like for instance, I found this. It's an Instagram account, philosophy. There's a lot of philosophy Instagram accounts out there. So I'm not exactly impervious to the concept of someone in social media telling me what to do or how to think. It's not like I'm this enlightened being who doesn't need to be told by anyone. I'm sitting in front of a shelf full of like self-help books. Like, come on, look at that stuff. Like, you got Ryan Holiday, a lot of Ryan Holiday, Stephen Pressfield's The War of Art, and stuff like that. I've yet to read these ones, and I still haven't unwrapped those, Brothers Karamazov and Crime and Punishment. I've read Crime and Punishment, but Karamazov is a long read. There's a Philip K. Dick there. I have to reread that. I've read this before. It's an old book. Anyway, so yeah, it's not like, It goes into how art is depicted, how philosophy is discussed. Unfortunately, a lot of people get into the Andrew Tates of the world. Maybe even the Joe Rogans. I'm not immune to it. Like, I was an avid listener of the Joe Rogan podcast in the mid 2010s. I don't listen as much because it's kind of gone to shit now. It's become so mainstream. Anyway, those two guys were talking about Ivan Turgenev. Ivan Turgenev was the other Russian novelist. We know of Leo Tolstoy, Fyodor Dostoevsky. Ivan Turgenev doesn't get discussed as much, and for very good reason. Is Nabokov a Russian novelist? Okay, he's American, Vladimir Nabokov. If you don't know what Lolita is, well, consider yourself, I don't know, maybe lucky or maybe better off. So he was born in Russia, but he's American for the most part. So I don't know if Lolita is Russian literature. Not really, no? Anyway, what they were talking about with Turgenev, through this quote by Isaiah Berlin, he's another philosopher. Here he talks about Turgenev. Conscious use of art for ends extraneous to itself was detestable to him. He knew that the Russian reader wanted to be told what to believe and how to live, expected to be provided with clearly contrasted values, clearly distinguishable heroes and villains. Turgenev remained cautious and skeptical. The reader is left in suspense in a state of doubt. Problems are raised and, for the most part, left unanswered. Yeah, that was Ivan Turgenev. He really did not like the way other Russian writers wrote their stuff. They were more like morality plays, and the reason why he doesn't get discussed as much, he's not as mainstream, is because he has to make the readers think, for themselves, and which is should be the goal. Should be the goal of a writer, should be the goal of an artist or a philosopher, to make people think. But a lot of people, most of them, they don't want to think. And at first, when I was younger, I thought about that and scoffed at it. I looked down on it. But being older now, more mature, I understand now. Yeah, I understand. Yeah, there's so much to worry about in this world. But in an ideal world, art would be direct but not overt, vivid but not an emulation, and ironic but not insulting. These are things that most people do not want. If you look enough at anything that's mainstream, you start to get jaded because kind of being looked down upon. My intelligence is being insulted by this stuff. But for most people, that's not what they feel. For the most part, media is a distraction for them. But ideally, any form of media, it would talk directly to you, but would not, it would show you what needs to be shown, what you need to see, but it will not tell you what you're supposed to think. It will not tell you what you're supposed to believe. And you can see even something as realistic, as supposedly realistic as photography, you can still make art out of that. And it's all about, how it's framed. It doesn't try to emulate reality. It depicts it in a certain way, in a certain perspective. And of course, ironic but not insulting. You want to satirize, but you don't want to punch down, right? Like that's a common saying in comedy. I view comedy as also a form of art. A really good comedy, really timeless comedy, is anything that views the world in an ironic light, but it doesn't try to overtly make people look bad. They kind of make them look bad. They kind of poke fun, but there's still something redeeming. I don't know. I haven't really thought enough about the comedy to be able to have a philosophical discussion about it. Okay, maybe a bit, but a lot of people like to say that comedy is supposed to be offensive. It's supposed to make people laugh. It's not going to make everyone laugh. It's supposed to make them laugh. There still has to be an attempt, right? Even for people who have no sense of humor, you're still going to try to make them crack. So, ironic but not insulting. And yet, most people, they don't think about these things. Reminds me of when The Wolf of Wall Street came out. Now, if you know how that film was made, what came of it, what happened to the people involved, it's a whole new can of beeswax. Look into Joe Low and the 1MDB scandal. If we're gonna, if you think the Philippines is corrupt, look into 1MDB and get into Malaysian corruption. That corruption gave us a Martin Scorsese film. Think about that. Anyway, when it came out, I remember this. I'm not going to name names, but he was a classmate of mine in high school. I saw him talk about the movie on Facebook, and it didn't really get much out of it. I remember what he said about it. All I really learned from it was marketing. It's that scene. Sell me this pen. Basically, Jordan Belfort's rise to power. A lot of it boils down to marketing and aggressive sales talk. That's the only thing he saw. And it made me really think, number one, what did I get out of that movie? Because I did watch it. And number two, what do I think he got out of it? Why he didn't get what I got? Doesn't make him any less of a person that he couldn't see what maybe other people saw. But what I saw, definitely. Of course, Wolf of Wall Street gets compared with, Wall Street, the Oliver Stone film starring Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen. Jordan Belfort gets compared with Gordon Gekko. Jordan Belfort is based on a real person. And Gordon Gekko, from what I'm aware of, is like an amalgam of different people on Wall Street back then. Because the 80s were pretty crazy, yeah. Wall Street was a little bit more overt, it could be seen as a morality play, sort of, because it really spells out the value it was trying to speak against, which is with that scene with Gordon Gekko saying greed is good. The way the movie ended, it's trying to imply that greed is maybe not that good. But of course, a lot of people who watched that film would go on to work in Wall Street. They tried to follow the path of Gordon Gekko and get rich quick and retire at 30, and it makes people think, like, did you watch the movie? And then again, in recent years, we've seen people, right wingers into authoritarian figures who are also fans of Rage Against the Machine, right? It's kind of funny to a lot of people, but it goes over a lot of people's heads. And it seems like The Wolf of Wall Street, kind of the same effect, especially with the way that movie was made. You know that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio he's being ridden cowgirl, and he's just there going, like not even feeling it anymore. He's just, I remember that. I remember the look on his face. And of course, the ending of that is, like, it's not even much of a spoiler. Jordan Belfort is a white-collar criminal. He went to jail, and in jail, that's when he finally found relief. I don't have to worry about, being caught, or, I don't have to worry about money. I could play tennis in this, like, minimum security prison. And the end message of that is basically, excess is exhausting. That's the message. Yeah, at least that's definitely what I saw. That's not what my former classmate saw, and I kind of get why. Dude also likes to show that he likes the finer things in life. He has a car and he has watches, which is I'm not against that. Absolutely not. I've been looking at watches recently, so it's not like I'm going, capitalism, ew, materialistic things, ew, shun. No. I'm not like that anymore. I'm too old for that now. It's not to say that, being materialistic is good, but also, like, Fight Club, Tyler Durden, you can't live like that. You can't live like that. I keep looking at this direction because this is where my notes are, and I'm trying to refer to my notes so that, somehow this talk is semi-coherent. And it got me thinking even more about this thing about being wholly overt and being told what to do in life. It leads us to the rise of gurus and life coaches and whatnot. And I've been watching Voidzilla lately. Voidzilla is basically CoffeeZilla. If you know him, he's busts scams. And CoffeeZilla has grown to such a degree that the videos are fewer and farther between because he goes into really deep dives into investigations on scams like Logan Paul's CryptoZoo, FTX, and all that stuff. Like the really big cases. Voidzilla is his second channel. He recently renamed it to Voidzilla from CoffeeZilla Extras. He now has some extra time to talk about the topics that grew his channel in the first place, and that's where he really gets petty. Anyway, back to these gurus, Andrew Tate types, Grant Cardone types. I'll even lump in Gary V. I liked them back when he was still reviewing wine. And earlier, I also watched a video about quiet desperation. Men live lives of quiet desperation where they're prisoners of their own fate. They want to break free, but yet they have responsibilities. They have bills to pay. They have children to feed. They have mortgages to pay off. They want to get out. They want to run away from their problems, but they can't. Men are becoming increasingly lonely. Case in point. But I'm fine with my solitude. Mostly fine anyway. But I get it, That's why people start turning to the louder voices in the room. The louder voices who are telling them how they should live, because it's a way for them to escape the drudgeries of their life. Maybe if I follow that path instead, if I listen to that guy, what he has to say, I should be ashamed for earning less than $400,000 a year. Yeah, there's a reason why they've been thriving on social media. It's because people really do want to be told what to do. And maybe they're a little pissed off about their parents. Come on, my last few videos is me, being kind of mad, kind of holding a grudge against my family. So it's not like I'm an exception. But I like to think that a big part of my ongoing development is being able to think for myself and not listening to what others say and following that path. I've been seeing a lot of friends and acquaintances who are going through that road lately. Like, you're 40 years old. Why are you still browsing 4chan? And it's extra funny, I think, that a lot of these grifters are into AI art. They like to say that liberal arts are impractical degrees. Studying the humanities is useless. And yet, here they are screaming about gatekeeping from artists because they're they're speaking against AI art. And yet, if you infringe on their what may be their copyright, may be their trademark, they would sue you to hell and back. Of course, they will only do what is convenient to them. They don't care about being consistent. They don't care about not becoming hypocrites. Being hypocrites is convenient to them actually, because it gives them moral flexibility, right? At the cost of their integrity. But people like that, they don't give a shit about integrity. So they tell you what you need to be told. You need to be told, and they tell you what you want to hear. And yet if you turn it on them, they throw tantrums, of course. But that's exactly the type of people that you want to be, because the end justifies the means, right? You don't care. You don't care about art. You don't care about philosophy. You don't care about finding meaning on this earth. Just want to have your cake and eat it too, even if it's at the expense of others. I think this rant has gone on for too long. Yeah, here I go again, and I don't really have any conclusive thoughts about this. It's just I'm just laying it out, and if you have something to say about it, put it in the comments below. I would like to hear about what you think about this. Anyway, avoider.net, I still haven't posted a new blog post yet, but I will soon, don't worry. Facebook.com/avoider.net. Oh man, it's almost 10 a.m. I have to go to the photo shoot. Anyway, that's all for now. Till next time, stay Tor.